Back again today with my good friend Norman, the CEO of Elevate, and we're going to go ahead today and just do a little bit of role comparison for all of you that are thinking about making your first transition into tech, but you don't know whether or not you should be going into sales, QA, software engineering, maybe cybersecurity, all these other roles here. We're going to
Right.
go out there and do a little bit of breakdown for y'all. Norman, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I'm excited for this. Yeah, I get this conversation all the time when we talk to candidates. They think tech is one thing, so I need to go into this, even if I maybe don't have a college degree, etc. So I'm glad that we're able to call out each of these roles, what are some pros and cons.
I think essentially in this call, I
Yeah.
mean, Norman, you're going to be doing what the high school career counselors
Right.
unfortunately didn't do. It's like the person that's so good at getting the job is working at the high school as a lifer, right? So let's go ahead and break it down. What are some of the most popular types of jobs that I
Yeah.
mean when people are giving calling us in,
Yeah.
they're making, I think they're doing some soul searching and getting ready to
Right.
make a very big step into tech, and
Right.
it's kind of overwhelming the number of options out there.
Yep.
What are some of the possible options that they do consider?
So a lot of folks who think about tech depends on how much exposure you've already had, but everyone always comes in thinking I'm going to be a software engineer. Right? There are literally 4 to 6 year degree programs for being a software engineer. But it's known. So they think software engineer. We hear a lot around QA, right? So quality assurance. They think about tech, security. I've heard everything from I'm a security guard and I'm going to secure the computers to I work in cybersecurity. And then if you're smart, if you know someone who's already in this space, if you're an ambitious person, you're thinking about tech sales 100%.
Got it, got it. Okay. What would you say in terms of like between software engineering, tech sales, and a
Right.
few other of the roles out there,
Yeah.
like within the first year, what do you think they can go out there and make in terms of salary?
Yeah. So every role is pretty much capped besides your time in tech sales. All right. And I just want to clarify that every single role you get into, there is a salary range, and
Hmm.
that's all that you're making. And you may be comfortable with that, right? You may find yourself in any sort of tech role or applying to a tech role, and it beats what you're making now, so that's perfect. But what I shared earlier is around ambition and where you want to go. So if you're someone who just likes to be passionate about something you're building or you're working towards, and you just want to give all your energy into it, tech sales is one of the only roles that actually rewards that effort. There's an expectation of what you will earn 70, 80, 90,000 in a year, but in your first year, certainly. But up to you to surpass that. You can go 120% of your goal, 150%, 200%. And again, you get rewarded for that effort. So it's really one of the only roles where it's sort of unlimited in what you can make from starting from year one all the way to 2, 3, 5, 10 years in. What you can make just continues to grow. Everywhere else may have some pros and cons to it, but it's always going to give you a complete range in the salary that you can make, and that's it. You're tied to that range.
What's like the barrier to entry like for
Right.
like that first transition for like most of these positions
Yeah.
that are in tech?
So, when let's look at software engineering, right? As you know about it. So, software engineering is a really deep technical skill set, which prior to just a couple of years ago, it's almost definitely you needed to have a 4 year degree in computer science to be looked at as credible. Right. There's some programs now who are trying to spend at least 9 months of training, but that's still, again, 9 months of training, 40 hours a week without getting paid, right? You're working your full time, plus you're doing this to build a technical skill set to be looked at as credible. And then again, you might enjoy the income that you're going to have, but it is going to be a range. You're going to fit in the lower range or the higher range, and that's it. That's all you're going to make. So some of the reasons that we love tech tails and these customer facing roles is you're not talking about years, you're not talking about months, you're talking about weeks, right? 10 weeks or less, very often, you can have all of the skills you need to be credible and to be in front of employers for a role in tech sales and to be earning oftentimes the same amount of income as what you could be making first year in some of these other roles. So, I think a lot of employers in these technical roles in tech, right? Quality assurance, software engineering, those sorts of things, they want to see a 4-year degree, right? They want to see a lot of deep exposure. Maybe you have a portfolio of different coding programs and projects you built over time. And that's like your bar, right? So you have to really have already committed all of those years to that effort to break it in customer facing roles and roles like tech sales, you don't even have to have a college degree, right? It's all effort. It's, are you someone that puts in effort, that puts in energy and has the right sort of perspective to be someone they can take a risk on. So if you have the training for tech sales, plus you have all of those soft qualities, you're coachable, you've got grit, you've got persistence, there you look very favorably and you have a great chance of breaking in without having a college degree, without having 9 months of experience, etc.
I think that's actually one of the things that people don't really consider when they're getting that first
Yeah.
job in tech is like software engineering is the most common, like I want to break into tech, I want to get into software engineering.
Right.
I think that um like it would be way harder for you to go ahead and learn software engineering and coding while you have a job at Whole Foods versus learning tech sales while you're having a
Right.
full-time job at Whole Foods, because during that entire time you until you actually get your first job in tech, you still have to have some source of income rolling in to keep you fed.
Yep.
So it could be 6 months while you're studying like
Yeah.
Python or
Right.
Ruby, and you may not get it. Versus like tech sales, um, yeah, as long as you can go out there and actually, I think, kind of have some have a certain degree of fluency in the English language. Like we're not talking about months, we're talking about like weeks. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
So I think also the other thing is when you're talking about like barrier to entry, um, a lot of companies, like do they actually have like sales interns? I think like they're very much open to, like, are they open to actually hiring people that came out of like a sales boot camp?
100%. Yeah. So the biggest challenge that companies find when they're trying to hire for this level of talent, again, remember, if you're going to be a software engineer, you're being looked at as, do they have the degree? Have they spent all of this many years practicing Python? Do they have a portfolio of projects that's impressive to me, that shows me they'll make a huge impact? Where they're in tech sales, the biggest challenge is, as a sales leader, I always need really great reps. So the demand for great talent is 100% always there. My business won't move without having great sales talent at the forefront, leading opportunities for us, building pipeline, as we call it. But there's anytime I want to try hiring, if they're not already in tech sales, I'm wondering if they have the right soft skills and if they have the right interests and commitment to stick around in the space. So I'm looking at things like, do they come from a background where they had to have a lot of grit, where they had to have a lot of sales experience, like maybe hospitality, right? Maybe going door to door in car sales originally. I'm looking for these check boxes to show me that this person is willing to go through a bunch of uncomfortable conversations with customers, a bunch to have these conversations, these calls, etc., do the work, and they'll stick around. So if you've invested in a program like a tech sales boot camp, then you've already 3/4 of the way there, right? You're already investing in a 10-week program, etc., that shows you're committed to the space. So why not have an employer bet on you, right? As long as you have some of those soft skills they're looking for, then the tech boot camp is already taking care of everything else, right? It's already verified that you want this role and you're committed to this role. And so employers eat it up. They absolutely love the opportunity to engage with boot camps. We have capstone events every single month. We usually bring 7 to 9 employers in a room, and all they're doing is evaluating our graduates and evaluating if they'd like to send them offer letters or make it in interviews.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that. What is a capstone project, and
Right.
then Like, and why do you guys call it the capstone project?
Right, right. So when you are in any sort of training program, like again, we go back to software engineering, we said those employers are looking for this portfolio of projects that you've completed. So as it relates to sales, these employers are looking, have you completed this program? What did you learn from this program? They want to know that you took away something from the program so that they can see you really are committed to the role. So we said, let's solve that for employers. Let's show them the best of the best. Let's show them what our candidates can do, what our alumni can do. So if selected, it's a competitive process to be selected, you get to be part of the capstone event. And what you're showing, your capstone is the sum total of all the skills and technique that you've learned in the program. So in tech sales, you really need to understand three areas. You need to understand the technology we use because employers don't want to train you on the basic tools. So you need to be a native in them. CRM, sales enablement tools, lead generation tools. These are all things that we pay and train for on our students. You need to be able to be strong in research and prospecting is what we call it. So this is the ability to identify a buyer that would be a great fit for your company and understand what is it that makes them tick. What's the value that they offer to the companies that they sell to? What are the individuals within that company that can make decisions on buying your product? Right? This is prospecting. It's like creating a profile of the buyer so you know exactly what to say, when to say it, so that they would want to meet with you. And then finally, it's the outreach. So what does your written communication look like and your verbal, your call communication look like to then persuade that potential company to meet with you? That's your capstone. Your ability to showcase your prospecting skill set and your outreach skill set, and coupled with the technology skill set that you already have from training from the program. You present that to employers. You say, I work at this company. This is my potential buyer that I would sell to. Here's what makes them tick. Here's what I would say and how I would communicate to get them to want to meet with us. And judges will evaluate you and they'll say, that's a great idea. These are great techniques, or these techniques need a little bit of work. But if they say it's fantastic, congrats, you're going to get an interview.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, I think right there, it just kind of, I think it comes down to a few things about your personality and being totally 100% informative and transparent. It sounds to me like if you are ready to make unlimited income, if you're ready to have a low barrier to entry to your first role in tech, and you don't necessarily need to have a college degree, and you don't want to go ahead and you'd rather spend weeks instead of months and months and months on end to make your first transition, then tech sales could be a very good fit for you, in which case you should schedule a call. If you do enjoy, I don't know, we still need software engineers in the world. So if you want to spend the next 6 to 8 months heads down coding, and you find a lot of joy in that, there is not a dollar sign that you can pay me to do that. You can't honestly cannot. But that might be the role for you. But either way, if you're still kind of unsure, schedule a call so we can help you navigate that. If anything else, we would love to point you in some of the better resources if you're looking to make a different transition. Norman, as always, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you for your time. This was great.